Have you ever been in a deal when you just can't shake that feeling off that the other part might not be honest and you don't trust them? And there is a solution for that, which is called the escrow that you can use for your own safety when you're closing a deal. As usual, we have our business lawyer Kat here to explain that for us. So stay tuned because this episode is really important. Let's go.
Let's go.
So the escrow, what is it?
Well, it's a very smart solution, I'm going to start with saying. And we can go with an example. Imagine that you have a coffee shop and we agree that I'm going to buy that for 250K. That's a good price. You're happy.
I agree on that.
Yeah, you're happy. But then I ask you for representation and warranties. Then you promise me that everything is in order, you paid your taxes, you've treated your employees correctly, there's no lawsuit that you haven't told me about. And I do the due diligence, my review of the company. And I get this nagging feeling that what if something comes up? Once I have gotten the keys and I really get the chance to get control and look at everything properly, what do I do? Because I have to chase you. So I feel uncomfortable paying you the 250K on closing the day when I get the keys to the company, to the coffee shop.
The day you usually give the money.
Yeah, and we have not negotiated any deferred payment or earn-out because it's only 250K. So closing is when the transaction, the money is supposed to go to you. But I feel uncomfortable because I do not want to take the credit risk of having to chase you across the world if it turns out that you lied to me or that something does not hold up in relation to those warranties, if the company is not as perfect as I thought that you promised me. And you, on your hand, you feel, no way am I going to give you the keys to my company and you're going to wait with paying me? I mean, why?
I don't accept that.
No, you don't accept that because then you take a credit risk on me. What if I never pay you?
Yeah, there could be a risk.
I might just come up with some frivolous claim that the taxes weren't in order or the accounting wasn't okay and only pay you 50K. And you have to go to a court and chase me down. You don't want that. You want the money the day you give me the keys.
Yeah.
So we don't trust each other.
No, we don't trust each other.
No. And then is when we use the escrow account because it's a protection for me as a buyer and for you as a seller. Because the money will not be in my control and it will not be in your control during that period of uncertainty. We can say 6 months from closing, right?
And forward, yeah.
Yeah, and forward. So instead of me holding on to the money and instead of you getting all of the money, we can put it at a trusted third party, an escrow agent.
That sounds very smart.
Yeah. So that is a party that is not affiliated to me, has nothing to do with me, and that is not affiliated to you, has nothing to do with you. It will only sit on the money.
Okay.
And then, of course, as always, we learn here on the Business Law Toolbox.
Yep.
The devil is in the details. Not all escrow account or clauses are created equal. Of course, we need to have triggering events. I mean, the agent needs to know. I mean, if I call them up and say, you know what, send the money to me. I was not trustworthy. This was completely wrong. Just send them back to me. I mean, you have to have very clear triggering events so that you know and feel comfortable that the agent knows when to send the money and to whom.
So the agent decides.
According to the predetermined agreement, the triggering events, when to, as it's fancy, it's called release the funds, send the money to either the seller or the buyer.
So that's why you need to be concrete.
Yeah. And most agents do not want to have any liability. So they prefer that the agreement says that they will release the funds either when they have a document signed by both parties stating that, okay, Everything is okay. 6 months have passed. No issues have come up. So Ida can get all of the monies. Okay, you get them. Or they want a court order that says, okay, there was an issue. So 50K should go back to the buyer. So typically, either a signed document by both parties or a court order. But you can also have that there's a time limit. If you haven't heard from us in 6 months, then the seller gets the funds.
Oh, okay.
And of course, you as a seller does not have to accept that all of the money goes in the escrow account. Typically, you will say that perhaps 20%. So you get some money straight away because you are handing over the keys. So I get a value straight away. So that's also subject to negotiation between the parties.
Oh, but you can negotiate however you want it to be, right?
Yeah. And also, it doesn't have to be cash money. I mean, it can be a signed document that for some reason you have a business and you feel that you do not want to give it to the other party and the other party does not like you holding on to it. So you can give it to a third party, escrow, and ask them to release it only when a specific event happens. So it can be many, many different things. Or it can be an asset, something that neither party wants to really have the other party hold on to during a specific time period. So this escrow or trusted third party can be useful to unlock a transaction, a deal where you don't really trust each other. So you can find a way to kind of navigate through that uncertainty.
Well, so I mean, this is really good because I can feel if you're gonna pay 100 millions and we're a bit uncertain on each other. I mean, it feels safe to have a third part that can handle this because, I mean, is it common that people don't have an escrow account and then keep on doing the deal even though they don't trust each other?
Absolutely, and that's the reason we're doing this. I've seen many clients who, for example, sell their company and they agree that the buyer will have deferred payment, so they will pay not all of the cash on closing, instead wait, and then the buyer does not pay. It can be a credit risk. It can be that the buyer doesn't have the funding. They never had all of the money to buy, and they were counting on the business bringing on new revenue, growing, so you can pay with the money from the business, and then that does not work out. So that's a situation where I see that the seller is in a bad situation because they took a credit risk on the buyer, and the buyer was not credit worthy.
Well, that sounds like it could be like catastrophe in that case.
Or the other way around. You trust the seller, you buy a company, and the warranties does not hold true.
Right.
There are tons of issues. And you have to go and chase the seller who is nowhere to be found. And the money, God knows where they put that. So then it's much better for you to have that agent.
Okay, but where do I find an escrow agent?
I mean, it can be, I mean, if you're in college, it can be a trusted teacher of yours. I mean, really, now if we're going broadly, you can find any independent third party to help you out. But if we're talking about the financial situations, it would typically be a bank.
Okay.
And in such cases, remember, it will cost you. So that's, of course, a downside. The bank will not do it for free. They will want some kind of remuneration for it.
Yeah, but it could be a good protection to save you money in the end anyways.
Yeah. And to give another example that's super relevant right now in the world of tech startups. What if you have an online business selling super cool shoes, golden shoes, all online? People going crazy for it. And you turn to me, I'm a tech company, and you ask me to do the application, the app. So I'm responsible of developing your app for your shoes, for your store, and for the maintenance of it. Everything fine. But then one day, the little tech company, I go bankrupt. I mean, will your business be down and out? You can't do anything because everything was online. And I am the one holding on to the source code and doing everything. What do you do?
Well, what do I do?
What do you do? In the agreement, the licensing agreement, because you're not buying anything from me, you're licensing, right? You will have an escrow account holding the source code and all other relevant information.
Oh, so you can also store information.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because I, as the tech company, will not want to give you my intellectual property, my trade secrets, my source code, my data, my infrastructure. But you want the protection if something happens, your business will not be down and out because I cannot perform anymore.
Wow, that sounds really good. So
Indeed.
in case of catastrophe, you can also store information.
Indeed. So very typical in SaaS companies, software as a service.
Now you know that too. So it's not only money.
No, not at all. It can be documents, it can be information, anything that you do not want the other party to hold on to, but you need to kind of both be able to grab for it in specific circumstances.
Really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now you know about the escrow, which could be both information and you can store money as well. So, I mean, if you're having a business, this is really good tips and tricks and tools for you.
Indeed.
And remember, it's not legal advice, it's knowledge sharing, which is very important to have in mind. And we're going to keep doing this because business law, you can get the opportunity to do mindful decisions in your business.
And grow.
Yes.
See opportunities and find new ways.
Yes. Find new ways and make that money and live your best life and do what you're good at.
Indeed.
Perfect. So we're going to stick around and I'll see you next time. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel because you want this knowledge.
And it will help us out to grow and get you even more knowledge.
Even more. And please drop questions below if you have anything. Describe your companies, your startups, your ideas. We're so curious to hear about that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Hej då!
Hej då!